Hey guys, Mizzo Frizzo here, and welcome back to my true first-person shooter tutorial series. This is part 2.1, an updated upload for Unreal Engine version 5.3. A couple of things have changed. The old method, you might find some things are a bit tricky, a little bit broken, so I've just decided to re-record part 2 in 2 parts to give you some updated information and make sure everything is working smoothly for you. If you're using an older version, say Unreal Engine version 5.2, you can still find the old upload. If you just search True First Person Shooter Tutorial Series Part 2, you'll still be able to find that one. And the only other thing I want to mention is that you might notice some inconsistencies between parts, such as the metahuman that I'm using. That's really nothing to worry about. The method is exactly the same. This metahuman uses the same metahuman based skeleton as Chandra. So just gloss over that. Focus on the method that's used and you'll be fine. So in this tutorial, we're going to be retargeting some animation assets and creating an animation blueprint. But before we can do that, we just want to click on Add down here in the content browser and add feature content or pack. We are going to add the third person content to our project. So click Add to Project. You'll know this has been successful because you'll see a couple of new folders down here, characters and third person. So we can close that. And then straight away in third person and blueprints, we're going to open up BP third person character. And we are going to go into the event graph and find add input mapping here. This is one of the things that's changed with 5.3. This isn't there in the first person character, which I find a bit odd because the first person template is the one that uses more than one mapping context. This sets the mapping context on event begin play to the default. So I find it a bit strange that that's not there, but anyway, we'll select this and control click event begin play to unselect that, control C to copy, and then open up your metahuman's blueprint, find some empty space, paste this in, and you want to grab event begin play and hair lod setup here. So you may have noticed that when we did this part in the first video that your add input mapping wasn't there. This is we'll grab it from the third person character and chuck it in here. I don't know how much it matters, but we are using the IMC default for all our input actions, so we should probably set it. And on that note, guys, if you click on the browse icon here, this will take you to the IMC default in the third person template. This is actually not the one we want to use. We want to go into the first person folder, inputs, click on the IMC default here, and then go back into your event graph and click this little arrow to set it as the correct IMC default. So if I hit browse now, it will take me to this IMC default. We can actually go into the third person inputs and we can just delete that inputs folder. Alrighty, compile and save that. The next thing we're going to do is retarget some animations from the third person template. So in your metahumans folder in common and common, you'll find this RTG metahuman. We can click on that and control D to copy. And I'm just going to change this to RTG many to metahuman, something like that. Open this up. And up here at the top right, source IK rig asset will be IK mannequin. Source preview mesh can be SKM many or SKM quin, it doesn't matter too much. Target IK rig asset can stay as IK metahuman. Target preview mesh will be the preview of your metahuman's body. So to figure out which one your metahuman uses, go into your metahuman's blueprint and click on the body. And over here under skeletal mesh asset, you'll see mine is using M tall normal weight body. So I'm going to want M tall normal weight body preview. So right here, find M tall normal weight body preview, select that one. Now this part is very important. This is one of the things that's changed with 5.3. If you select the root here and change the translation mode to globally scaled, retargeting the assets in the old-fashioned breaks the root motion. This makes sure that the root motion is carried over. So make sure you select root and change translation mode to globally scaled. Then up here at the top left, we can click these three little dots and edit retarget pose. The bones on your mesh are probably not showing up, so click character, bones, all hierarchy, and we're going to rotate the arms here. So select the bone on the upper arm here. Make sure rotation snapping is switched on to 10 degrees because we're going to rotate these arms 10 degrees back and 10 degrees out. You can select the other arm, rotate it 10 degrees back and 10 degrees out, and that should line up pretty well. If I get rid of this stuff, you'll see that the hands are lined up pretty well. That's close enough. We can save and close that, and then in the third person folder, and characters, mannequins, animations, you'll find these two animation blueprints. We're just going to right click on ABP Quinn and select retarget animation assets, duplicate and retarget animation assets / blueprints. Select the retargeter that you've just created and hit retarget. ABP Quinn is a child of ABP Many, so some of the things are similar. You'll see it will also retarget ABP Many, but it will not retarget. Oh, I believe it has retargeted all of the animations as well. The MM, do we have MM run forward? We don't have we do have MF run forward. Yeah, so that should be all you need to do. You can select the ABPs at the top here and delete those. We're not going to use those. And just in content, we are going to create a new folder, call it _main. And in _main, create a new folder, call it animation. Within animation, a new folder. We'll just call this one third person anims, just to remind us of where we got these animations from. We can select all of those animations, drop them in third person anims, select move here, and there we have it. We have a bunch of retargeted animations onto our metahuman. You'll notice if you look very closely that some of these animations are a bit dodgy when it comes to the hands. It's not the retargeter's fault, it is actually just Manny's animations are not that slick. The thumb is clipping through the fingers here on parts of it. But we are not going to use the upper body on these animations. These are literally just to give us lower body animations for locomotion. So these will come in handy later on. It's quite tricky to make these animations from scratch. So there we have it, bunch of animations. So the next thing will be to create an animation blueprint. So we'll create it here in the animation folder, but just very quickly, the first thing we want to do before we do that is check what skeleton our character is using. So if you head over to your character's blueprint, and over here the skeletal mesh asset, you can hit browse on that, take you to the skeletal mesh. Open this up, and up the top here you'll see this skeleton button. That will take you to the skeleton asset, and as you can see here, it's the metahuman base skeleton. Not actually going to do anything in here, just wanted to confirm that this was using this skeleton, the metahuman base skeleton. So I'm going to close those down, and in our animation folder, right click, animation, animation blueprint. Now this is the important part, to select the correct skeleton that you want these animations to apply to, and as we just saw, we're using the metahuman base skeleton. hit create. I'm going to call this AnimBP underscore Chandra and open this up. Going to head straight over to the event graph, and we're going to set up some sort of preliminary stuff here that will help us tell the animation blueprint what animations to play at any given time. So the first thing we're going to do is look for a node called event blueprint begin play, just here. We're also going to grab this try get pawn owner here, drag off of that, pull up an isValid node, and also drag off of try get pawn owner and cast to your characters blueprint here. So basically what this has done is the very first thing it's done is just to check if there's a pawn owner. If there is, then cast to your character, and off as BP Chandra we can promote this to a variable, and you can call this character reference. So basically what we've done is at begin play we've checked that there is a character, we've casted to it, and then we've created a reference to it as a variable. So we can access this reference at any time instead of casting over to Chandra. We just cast once, create a reference, and there we go. Now down here off event blueprint update animation, the first thing I'm going to do is pull out this character reference. We're going to be using it quite a lot, and we will duplicate this isValid, and again just checking that there is a character, and if there is, we are then going to run a sequence. We can add a bunch of pins to this because we're going to add a bunch of stuff to here. Basically what this is going to do is every time it updates the animation, it's going to run through this sequence, boom, 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 and update a set of variables that we're going to create to tell our animation blueprint what our character's doing, and therefore what animations it should be playing at any given time. So the first one, we'll drag off character reference here and get the character movement. Sometimes you gotta scroll, yeah, it's at the bottom here, get character movement, and off character movement we can find is falling. This is kind of a built-in function that tells you whether your character is in the air or on the ground. And off of this, promote to variable and rename it is falling question mark, and plug this into the first pin over here. Okay, so that's the first one. For the next few, we're going to need our character's velocity. So drag off the character reference there and find get velocity here. And straight up we can promote that to a variable, call it velocity. Now we're not going to use all of these right away, or maybe some of them not at all, but it is really good practice just to set these up so that it might save time later whenever you want to access the character's velocity for whatever reason. You've got this set up here. Next one will be speed, so just drag off get velocity here and find the vector length, and promote that to a variable, call that one speed, and plug that into the next execution pin. Next one, we will do the direction that the character is facing. So we can get actor rotation and off get actor rotation, we can calculate direction. I don't believe these are the same. This will be the one you want with target is anim instance, and this velocity here will come off get velocity. Promote this to a variable, call it direction, plug it in over here. Just gonna try and clean these up as best I can. It might look a bit like some spaghetti code here, but me personally, I mean, you could collapse these to a function like calculate. Calculate is falling, calculate velocity, just to show you. So if I select these three and right click, I can go collapse the function, and I would call that calculate is falling. And that might help to tidy it up. I'm not going to do that. I don't really think it's necessary, as long as these variables that are being set are all aligned over here. It's quite easy to see what's going on. So you can say, where's the direction? There's the direction. How are we calculating that? Go back from there. I believe that's all we'll set for now, just these four. That's a good practice. This is a good base here, direction, speed, velocity, and is falling. So from here we're going to head on over to the Anim Graph. Okay, so over in the Anim Graph, and the first thing I'm going to do is just right click up here and add a new state machine. New state machine here. I am going to call this lower body anims, and I'm also going to cache this. So you see here new save cached pose, and I am going to also call this lower body anims. So basically whatever this state machine outputs, it's going to cache it here in this saved cache, and then at any time we can call that. So use cached pose lower body anims. That's calling that cache and outputting whatever it's cached here into wherever you want. This is just to save time later. This is fairly good practice because we're going to be adding a bunch of stuff in front of this output pose. This will just allow us to keep things a little bit cleaner. If you go into lower body anims here, this state machine, and off entry, we're going to add a new state and call it idle/walk/run. You can go into that, and we are just going to grab these blend spaces that are already set up here. I'm going to grab the male one. So just for the record, MF are the female animations and MM are the male ones. And we already have these blend spaces here set up. This blend space requires speed, so you can grab speed, which we set up in the event graph earlier. Align these. Just in case you didn't know, you can highlight several nodes and press Q and it will align them. Open up this blend space. Now, as you can see here, this first animation is MM walk in place. We don't actually want that to be the case as 0. 0 should be idle, so you're going to click on that one, change the speed to say 50, and over here I'm going to grab MF idle, drag it out here onto the blend space, and drag it all the way to the left so its speed is 0. If you hold Control, you can move the cursor along the line here to see at what speed the blended animations will look like. I prefer this MF idle. For the record, we're gonna change all of this later. We're gonna create a new blend space dependent on speed and direction to make directional movement. So this is just a placeholder for now. So our character is animated and can run around. But yeah, so I prefer this MF idle because if I look at it from this angle and switch between MF idle and MM idle, you can just see that this stance is kind of more bladed off. Whoops. I just think it looks better. Alrighty guys, that's it for today. Sorry if this video seems a little bit disjointed. As you could probably tell, I have used some old footage, but that stuff hasn't changed. So yeah, that's it. In the very next tutorial, which is going to be uploaded on the same day, so it should be right there already, we are going to start using our camera input, our mouse input, to rotate the spine bones of our character to make them look up and down. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.